right away. But this is the very reason I came. Father, bring glory to your name. And I believe as a church body, as people that are born again, the way we can bring the most glory to him is just a surrendered life. All of us can do that. All of us have the ability to surrender our life. All of us can go into the ground and die. If not, we're going to remain alone, he says. We're going to just be who we are. You know, is it any wonder that I'm just Keith, that I'm just the old natural Keith, if I'm never willing to give in to death, if I'm never willing to follow at any cost? He says, if you seek to have a good life for yourself now, you're going to lose your life. If you seek to save yourself, if you seek to have a good life now, he's saying, I'm afraid you're going to lose everything. But if you surrender, I don't believe we realize the grace that comes along. Some of us do. Some of you do. I know you do. You've walked in it. You know what the cross is about. You know what dying to self is about. But the Lord has been talking to me about just very detailed right into where I walk. There's more for me. And so I'm just telling you what's going on between the Lord and me right now. And he's calling me just to give my body, just to give what I have, and to say, as Jesus did, but this is the very reason I'm here. Why are we here? Why are we on the earth? Why were we born? I wonder, what is our goal? Is it the goal that Jesus has, that the Father has for us? Jesus knew what his life was to be, and he wasn't distracted by living here. We live here, and it's so easy to be distracted, and there's no condemnation. I probably have been more distracted than any of you have. This world becomes so real to us. We want to be a part of it. We want to be a part of this easy life because it looks so good. It looks so satisfying. It looks like a good place to be. And then Jesus just says, Lord, but I'd rather do your will. And then the grace that comes with that, the rest, the contentment, the peace, the joy, much beyond sitting in a life of ease that we can make for ourselves. And the knowing that when it's time for this body to go, an eternity with the one that we really want to be with. That's our goal, all of us. I know it is. You wouldn't be here on a Sunday morning if you wouldn't want to be a part of the kingdom of God. We want to. That's our desire. We want, at the end of our life, we want to get to spend eternity with our Father in heaven. That's the desire that we have. But there's things that can come in and just get our attention and distract us and pull us in directions that maybe the Father wants to correct sometimes. That's me. If we cling to our lives, we will lose them. But if we're willing to surrender, oh, the gain. Oh, the gain. Sometimes I would want the Lord to open our eyes spiritually to see, not when I get to heaven, but what is available for me as a Christian here below that I haven't gotten a hold of yet. Because I have a body that I can give, and it is worthwhile to give it right where I walk. Let's do that. Just give. Just give. What you know to do. What you know to give. What's on your heart. You may not even know what your calling is, like our brother said earlier. I don't think that's so important. I agree with him. But do what's on your heart to do. And then you're walking exactly as Jesus walked. He did what was on his heart to do and what the Father directed him to do. And oh, the blessing that was on his life. But we want to hold back. I'm impressed with this young soldier that somehow saw when he joined the military that, hey, this is not, there's no frustration if I don't get to sleep in a good warm bed tonight. He realized I'm fighting a battle. And he knew that the leaders over him, the military generals and leaders, were not out looking for his comfort and his ease, but they wanted a job to be done. Let's not hinder the Lord from being able to work through us. I get so amazed at how successful Jesus was. When he talked, people's needs were met. Wherever he went, things were done. The kingdom of God was advanced. But it was just because he was obedient. It was just because he had that surrender. It was because he gave his body. And so there's nothing different about where we walk. We can give. And let's do that. May God help us to see the value of not trying to hang on to an easy life. It's not wrong to go sleep in a bed where it's warm and have a warm shower. I'm not expecting you to go get a ducha like they have in Honduras that you plug in and it works half the time. I didn't like showering with those hot water heater or whatever. I'm not saying those things are wrong, but it's where our heart is. It's where our heart is. If we get frustrated, if God asks something of us that maybe isn't quite as easy, and then we say, well, no, I'd rather have the easy way, then that's where we miss out. But it's been, it's if God gives us direction and we say no because of the heart wanting the easy life. I'm going to go to 2 Corinthians 4. We talked about verse 7. Let's read a couple more verses there. That's where it talks about having this treasure in an earthen vessel. So I'll read verse 7. This translation doesn't call it the earthen vessel, but it says, now we have this light shining in our hearts, but we ourselves are like fragile clay jars containing this great treasure. And this makes it clear that our great power is from God and not from ourselves. And then we know this, next couple of verses. We are pressed on every side by trouble, but we're not crushed by God. We get knocked down, but we're not destroyed. And this was Paul's testimony. And then he says in verse 10, through suffering, our bodies continue to share in the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be seen in our bodies. There's an answer to the question if it's worthwhile to let our bodies suffer for the sake of the gospel, for the sake of the kingdom. Absolutely, so that the life of Christ may be seen in our bodies. That's what we get if we're willing to die to what I want. It's the life of Christ. That all of us want. We long for that. We would love to have the testimony about our lives that the light of Christ is in him. The light of Christ is in her. When I go to her house to visit and the children are fussy, there's still a light that comes from her life. Even though things aren't all in good order, there's a flavor that comes from a person that is surrendered. And that's the testimony that we're after. That's why we give of our bodies, so that the life of Jesus may be seen in our bodies. And it's so worth it. I'm sure if we would ask anyone that has gone on before,